Beth is the kind of woman who keeps going because what else is there? She's tired, she's practical, and she's holding together a messy life in a cramped Los Angeles apartment with her kids. She's not glamorous, she doesn't have time for drama. And then, of course, her sister Ellie shows up. Ellie is the opposite, free-spirited, a little chaotic, weirdly confident, and carrying something secretly. She is pregnant, but she didn't tell her sister Beth. That, unsurprisingly, is trouble. Ellie arrives hoping to crash for a while, and Beth, being the practical one, tries to make space because family means you do the hard thing, even if your sister is a walking question mark. They bicker, they reconcile a little, the kind of sibling dynamics that feel real and messy. But when Beth's son takes out that old, strange book he found and starts flipping through it, half joking, half curious, the air in the apartment changes. It's like a subtle shift, a bad smell that promises worse things are coming. If you've seen any Evil Dead, you know a book like that is basically a ticking bomb. The book doesn't wait long. A neighbor gets into an argument, weird stuff starts happening in the building, and the mundane apartment suddenly becomes a pressure cooker. People get mean, people get sick, doors won't open, phones die. The old book is waking something up, and it feeds on fear, anger, and resentment, which, in this tight urban hive of strangers and family, there's plenty of. Beth was infected by demons. Ellie tries to steady everything to protect her kids, but the rules have changed. This isn't just a haunting where curtains flutter and lights flicker. This evil is actively taking hold of flesh and bones. One by one, people get possessed. At first, it's subtle, strange words muttered, a look in a neighbor's eye that wasn't there before. Then it becomes violent and grotesque. The kids are terrified, which of course pulls on Ellie's heart like a lead weight. There are scenes that make you flinch, not because they're trying to be shocking for shock's sake, but because the love and horror feel braided together. A living room becomes a battleground, an elevator turns into a trap, and this high-rise that used to feel like home now feels like a tiny island under siege. Ellie reacts a lot like a person who's realized they opened a cursed email they shouldn't have clicked. She alternates between frantic guilt and weird obliviousness. The movie makes her human, not a caricature, which helps the emotional stakes. Ellie, meanwhile, has to be a parent and a soldier at the same time. She improvises, bargains, lies, screams, and fights in ways parents never expect to do. The fear is visceral because it's not just for Ellie life, it's for the little voices that keep calling out for breakfast or cartoons in the middle of the worst night of their lives. There are moments that are genuinely heartbreaking. People you barely know become tragically undone. The evil delights in humiliation and family rupture, pulling secrets and old resentments into the open and amplifying them. It's especially cruel because in such close quarters, every scream echoes and every betrayal happens right next door. The film keeps the mounting claustrophobia constant. You can feel the walls pressing in. That choice works. A high-rise isn't exactly a frontier of safety, and here it becomes a coffin with windows. Beth was forced to listen to a recording from the book. Her actions get smarter and grittier as the crisis deepens. She rigs doors, moves furniture like a woman resetting the chessboard, and confronts the possessed with a kind of exhausted fury that's oddly believable. There's very little glory here, mostly survival and grim improvisational courage. She tries to reason, to hide, to bargain. She loses people. She does things she never wanted to do, all with that same stubborn, bleeding-hearted determination parents have when cornered by danger. Some sequences are so raw you can hear the director whispering, "Let them be messy," and thank goodness, because perfection wouldn't ring true. The practical horrors are often as memorable as the supernatural ones. The film stages a number of set-piece confrontations that are both physically inventive and emotionally harrowing. Tight spaces, cramped stairwells, blocked exits, and the constant menace of an unseen force turning ordinary objects and people into hazards. The camera is intimate, sometimes too intimate, and that keeps us in Ellie's skin. There's no safe spectator seat in this movie. You're shoulder deep in the panic. As for Beth's son, he swings between agonized guilt and some moments of surprising bravery. The sister bond is what keeps the film anchored. They argue like real sisters. They also patch each other up, literally and metaphorically, as the building goes to hell. That mixture of love and exasperation gives the horror real weight. It's not scare after scare for show. The stakes are personal. When someone you love becomes the monster, the personal cost of fighting back is enormous. The movie doesn't shy away from body horror. It embraces it with a sort of grim creativity. Rooms become grotesque tableaux, and the idea that your next-door neighbor could become your worst nightmare is played out in detail. Some of the effects are disgusting and brilliant in equal measure. The film wants you to squirm, but it also wants you to care about the people doing the squirming. That balance keeps it from being pure shock value. There are also quieter moments that let the human story breathe amid the chaos. Brief flashbacks and small confidences remind us who these people were before the book ruined everything. Those moments pay off because they make the losses sting. The horror isn't abstract, it's the destruction of lives that were, in their own small ways, ordinary and tender. The film mixes loud slam-bang terror with a few scenes that haunt you later when you're trying to sleep. At the center of the chaos, Ellie makes choices that reveal who she is: protective, flawed, heroic in ways that don't feel theatrical. She improvises traps, makes impossible sacrifices, and pushes through exhaustion and despair. The film's climax is brutal and relentless. There's no triumphant music swell. It's more like someone keeps closing doors, and each one squashes a little bit of hope. The last act doubles down on intensity. Confidences are betrayed, alliances shift, and moral compromises pile up until there's almost nothing left to give. You get to the point where the film asks the question classic horror always does: what do you do when the rules of the world break? Ellie's answer is messy, human, and oddly believable. She fights, she cries, she tries to keep hold of love as the thing that can still anchor her. The ending is not a neat bow. It leans into ambiguity. There are consequences for every action, and victory is expensive. If you're looking for a tidy, triumphant finish, you're out of luck. But if you appreciate a conclusion that respects the chaos and the emotional toll, it lands. On a lighter note, this is not The Evil Dead where you get a comfortable campfire vibe and a jaunty chainsaw routine. There's very little comic relief, and what humor exists is darkly ironic. Characters crack a joke as a way to survive, not because the movie wants a laugh track. Still, in the middle of all the grimness, there are tiny human moments, a sibling gesture, a memory of better days, a dumb attempt to find normalcy in absurd circumstances. Those moments make the nightmare feel all the more real. If I had to sum it up, Evil Dead Rise is a tense, intimate, and at times stomach-churning look at what happens when a family's worst night becomes a supernatural siege. The performances, especially the lead, sell the emotional truth. This is about ordinary people forced to do extraordinary, ugly things to survive. It's both a horror movie and a family drama, a messy, violent family drama. And the two halves feed each other in a way that keeps the film humming. So go in prepared. It's loud, it's nasty, and it doesn't give you easy answers. But it's also surprisingly tender in little pockets, and you leave thinking about how thin the line is between love and desperation, and how far a parent will go to protect kids. Also, maybe don't take mysterious books from strangers or your sister. Seriously, just toss the thing in the trash and order takeout. You'll thank me later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more recaps movies.